Good morning. Welcome. Let's get started in just a few minutes. As you can see, I've gridded an 8x10 canvas, and the reference that I'm using is a real pretty amaryllis, and it's just bloomed for my friend recently, and she took these pictures. So I'm excited to do it. I've pre-mixed a few colors, which is not my usual way, but I said I was going to try it this week. And I don't know. I tried it yesterday, and I found it to be a little bit awkward because I'm just so used to mixing the colors as I go. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes when I add these colors. We'll wait another minute or so. It's supposed to be a really warm day here in Virginia. It's going to be 73. Kind of crazy when you think it's February 15th. Oh, I think it's 9 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. Just getting some paper towels ready. Okay, so I like to get started using transparent color, and I do this. I would put the camera more straight on, but when I do that, then I feel it's very hard for me to like work around it. So it's a little bit off to the left a little bit, but you should be able to see it. Okay, so I'm going to start with some transparent red medium. It's a Rembrandt color, beautiful color with a little bit of liquid mixed in. Okay, I'm going to get a bigger amount there, so it won't take so long. I like to get color on everything, and starting with the transparent colors is a nice way because it kind of tones the canvas for you. And the beautiful intensity of the color kind of peeks through, even after you start to put your opaque layers in. Kind of think of this time of year when you see amaryllis, either Valentine's Day or Christmas, because they can be forced to bloom, and the color is just so perfect. And then there's a little bit back here. Actually could have put some of the Wintercrone Violet. I think I will put some in there because it's a little cooler. And some in here too. Alizarin or the violet, they are nice ones to use because they're darker in value, which matches the shadow color. Okay, and I'm going to do a combination of the ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson, which makes a nice dark purple. I went a little crazy there. And then right in here. Oh, I forgot this little one that's going over in this direction here. Went the opposite. Go that way. Okay. And then I'm going to use some sap green for the stems and later add in some opaque color there too. Good morning, Anne. Welcome. Just working on an amaryllis here today. Oh, thank you. This belongs to a friend of mine, and she shared the photo. Good morning, Kay Canary. I don't know if I said that correct. Okay. It makes a nice underpainting, this transparent color. And I'll use a little transparent Indian yellow, which is a Winsor Newton color. They can be different, of course, as you know, from one manufacturer to the other. This is a soft yellow. It looks like there's a bit of red that I missed above here. Okay. And a little bit of red right here. Okay, the background, I haven't settled in my mind yet what I'm going to do completely. I hate to avoid it. I thought of doing like a muted green, light green. I think what I might do is this Rembrandt yellow green. It's a little warm, but it'll just put some color down, and I'll probably end up cooling it quite a bit. But at least we'll have something that's a different value. I'll try to thin it out even more. Yeah, that's softer. Oh, and I always do this every time I say, oh, gotta move to a bigger brush, because it'll go faster. I'm trying not to worry and get precious about hitting the other colors at this point, because it's going to have an opaque layer, and it just adds to it. I see people that really worry about that, especially when they first start painting, and you don't need to worry. Good morning, Nancy. Nancy McClure Art. Did you guys do anything fun this weekend? Or working on any fun projects? I am doing a pet portrait right now. Sweet little dog, looks like he has some chow in him, or her. And then also working on a 11 by 14 rabbit, possibly for a show coming up in April. I mostly painted over the weekend. Just was a good weekend for that. Good morning, Sue. Sue B. Caustic. Hi. Well, this one is one of those that kind of looks pretty at this stage all by itself. But we won't leave it there. We'll get into the opaque color. I like to get rid of the white. White drives me crazy. Okay, that's enough of that. Well, thank you. I'm glad you're here then. Okay, I was saying earlier, before some of you joined, that I mentioned last week I was going to try to do pre-mixing. Well, I did some yesterday, just sort of to practice. I really don't like to pre-mix. So what I ended up doing for today was I pre-mixed a couple of different greens and a good amount of the dark, because that usually is something that I have to keep stopping to mix up some more dark. But for the most part, I like to mix on the canvas and sort of, I don't know, the way my mind works, I'm just a little bit more intuitive or in the moment. So I don't know where I'm going. And what I found yesterday was I had a bunch of piles of paint when I was finished. I did actually end up using it for a different painting, some of it, but it didn't get used for, what I thought it was going to get used for. So we need to get into some of these reds. Now I put out a Rembrandt opaque color. Let me see if I grab that. It's Rouge de Cadmium Moyen. And the other part that gives it the other name is Covered in Paint. But it's similar to just Cad Red Light. And I'll use that. And I think for starting out, I'm going to take some alizarin, kind of reinforce some of this area in here that I put some of the dark into. This is still transparent color. Yes, this is oil, Sue. Good morning, Linda. Welcome. So I'm just going now, and what I do in the beginning is usually put down overall color for the most part, and then go back and put in some of the more subtle, nuanced values, darker values right here. I really need to get some new brushes. They're just not as sharp as I'd like them to be on the edge. But brushes are expensive, and I seem to go through them. Okay, so I got those darks in there. Now I'm going to take some of the, gosh, I have a hard time finding words when I'm in this mode. That red that's similar to Cad Red Light. The other thing that happens is I can't see with the glare on it. Hopefully what you see, well, yeah, look in the camera. That looks pretty good. But this is an opaque color. Oh, I missed a dark right in there. I like to go in the direction that I see the petal going in. And that helps give the illusion that there's curling happening on the canvas. I've been putting these demonstrations, well, they remain on Instagram, but I also put them up on YouTube and in my blog on my website. If you ever want to see another week's demonstration or do, if you want to paint along and do this later. Good morning, Cell Blue and Mike Beeman. Welcome. All right, now I said I missed that spot right in here. All right, now to do the greens. One of the greens I mixed up was a combination of manganese blue and it was lemon yellow. But I added a little bit of gray to desaturate it. Because it is pretty bright. So here I am putting it on all of them. But like I say, I like to mix on the canvas. Okay, this is really cool here, this dark. And then do a little bit. A lighter one going in there. Need to go a lot lighter than that. And then I'll take light on this side. Oops. Okay, now for this little blossom that's opening over here. So pretty. I'll take a little bit of, it's like a titanium buff to go over some of that yellow. Take some of that titanium buff over here too. Okay. I think what I want to do is put some cooler red in there, which I have a cad red medium. Just kind of see what it does. I like that. It's really nice and opaque. I really having a hard time seeing with this darn light. Maybe if I turn it down just a little. Yeah, that does help a little. I'm going to take some of this quindichrome violet and add just a little, well, I was going to say add a little gray to it, but it really gets purple, so. Oh, I know what I didn't do yet. I didn't play with my my new sticks, oil sticks. Really, I'm having fun with these. Even if I end up going over some of the colors, it's just fun. Takes me back to my pastel days, which I really loved. Only these are oil sticks, and they're so much better than oil pastels. You have to put oil pastels under glass because apparently they don't dry completely. But these do. These are just like your oil paints. And they're R&F. There you go, R&F. You can get them smaller than this, but Jerry's near me didn't have them smaller, so these should last me a while. I have this one that's a warm rose. I think I might get adventuresome and put some of this in here. What I'll end up doing sometimes is getting a little too involved with them, but because I'm playing. And this one is quinacridone magenta. This can help with those darks. Put some more in there. Any of you played with these oil sticks before? Apparently the R&F are a little bit softer than Sennelier, which I loved that brand when I was back from my pastel days, soft pastel. But these are really fun. They're just more buttery. There was a brand called Unison when I painted in soft pastels. I don't know if they're probably still around. But it reminds me of those. They were just super buttery, and you saved them for like the fun flourishes. There's still some of that white there. And then I have, I don't think I used this one yet, which is Malachite Green. Gotta love the name. Ooh, yeah, like that. See what I mean? I really get carried away. I'll put just a little bit of this in there. So I think that's just cad lemon. Have a neat line going there. I wish I had someone putting them away while I was doing this because I really want to keep them. They come in these tubes. And I want to keep them in there so no drying happens. Okay. So the background, I just still don't know. I did kind of mix up a little bit of color. Let's see. Yeah, no, I don't like that. And I did like a warmer version, but cannot remember how I did it. Let's see. I think I took a little bit of gray and some of that background color and a little bit of warm white. I'm just going to put a little bit more to calm it down a little. It might end up getting changed by the time I post this later. I thought of going really dark, but the the light on it is not as dramatic as I like to do when I do a dark background. Sometimes backgrounds make themselves very clear what they need to be, and sometimes not so much. And sometimes they should be just like a lot of different colors, which it might end up being too. I just don't like the transparent on the white right now. So a little bit of that yellow green, some gray, some white. It's a little bit darker, a little more white. I'd love to hear what everybody's painting. I know you guys are painting stuff. Wow. Good morning, Hilly. Okay, so I'm gonna take stock here for a minute. I do like at least having something on here. This flower has a little more color. And I might put a little bit of yellow ochre in there, just something. And some dark, it needs some dark too. Up here. Maybe some dark down here. Okay, to give it a little bit more oomph, I think I'm going to add some orange in places. See what that does. I hope it's showing up for you. I can see a little bit, but I wish I had a lighting person to advise me on how to better see all this. Good morning, Cedric. Goodness, we have a good group of people this morning. So glad you're all here. I need to put out some Montserrat orange. It took me a while. It's a Williamsburg color. And it took me a while to kind of get used to it and find its place on my palette. But now I really like it. It's kind of a cooler orange, but the value of it and the texture and everything is nice when you just want to accent places. And I'm really enjoying that about it. So we'll see. Kind of lightly let it mix into the color that you have there. Oops. Kind of missed my target then. Good morning, Southampton. That's where it should have gone. Oh dear. I think I got my brush in something else. Yeah, I got it in the blue somehow. So we're just going to go right over that. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the darks. When in doubt, check your darks. Using some of that mixture of ultramarine and alizarin, making that nice dark purple. Back in here it curves around, so I want to make sure I have that. And something dark right here. And right in here kind of goes up a little bit. I really like painting flowers because, you know, it makes you really pay attention to them more than you would if you just notice a flower. You really start to pay attention to the structure and all the little curves. It's just, flowers are really amazing. I find that once you paint something, you know it like in a different way than you did before, and well, that's the beauty. That's why we artists like doing that stuff. You want to know the world around us and express our feelings about it in a different way. Okay, back to the darks. I need to play up some of these darks in the flower, in the stem. Okay, this is a good bit darker than what I have. dark right in between here. It's like another one going up behind it. Ah. Good. A lot of back and forth in painting, like when you go off track like I just did. Now I gotta fix that. Oy. But I think the mistakes add to the overall, what would you call it, the ingredient of the painting, and can give it its own flavor. How's that? And there's like this lighter bit down here. I know that Mike Beeman, if he's still on here, is a wonderful pastel artist and oil painter. I wish I'd kept up with both. I live in a condominium now, and my studio is way smaller than it was. It's 8 by 10 with carpeting. So when I have those feelings like, oh man, I'd like to get out my pastels, I just don't know where to put them. That's my excuse anyway. I have two huge boxes of pastels, and I really still love them. I think they're beautiful, pure pigment. Doesn't get any better. Okay. So maybe someday, you never know, maybe I'll end up moving somewhere else and have like a garage studio or something where I can set up something that would capture the dust. I never say never. Okay, this still has a lot of that color from the pigment stick. I'm going to take some of my radiant turquoise and see where I can put that in. I know one place is go back where I just kind of covered that. And maybe right in here. I just love this, the radiant colors at Gamblin. All of them really, but I love radiant turquoise. Is there anywhere I could put it on the red flower? Let me try a little here. I like to just throw color in, you know? Just do it. I might even put some on here. Can always go over it. Okay, back to the dark reds. I think that'll be probably one of the last things I do during our time together. So see where I can put a little more alizarin in to play up the depth a little more. And where these petals are. I also kind of keep refining the drawing as I go. You know, I saw that shape was a little different there. Not that it really matters because nobody's going to see the reference, but it's just, that's like the portrait artist in me that wants to make something look just like the reference. Just like the flower. I find with each pass that I see more details. And you can decide if they're important or not. Good morning, Pat. Pat is my friend that took the photo of the Amaryllis. So I thank you. I wonder if I can find I have a CAD light that's a different brand. I have this wonderful organizer of paints, but sometimes I still can't find one of them. I think it might be in a different container. I'll look real quick and see if yep, it is in a different container. I only had so many small places in my racks that I just got from Jerry's. Yeah, it looks a little lighter in value than the Rembrandt red that I used. So we'll try that for the last thing that I do before we have to say goodbye today. Thank you, Pat. It's your Amaryllis. Okay. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's gonna help lighten it up in some places. That's how you get to know your paints and which brands are creamier and flow more easily and which ones are a little brighter where you need it. This is a Lucas CAD red light. I think I already did that. Oh, you know what? I didn't put the stamen. Is that what you call it? I didn't put that in. Let me see if I can do that real quick. think I'll just suggest the ends and then attach if I need to. Using a little bit of lemon with white, with a warm white. A little bit of liquid, hopefully that'll go on right here. It is as big as I want it to be. Add a little more white. Yeah, come on. And over there, it's a little bit more yellowed. Maybe a little yellow ochre. There's just a tiny bit of light coming through there. More of a sliver. There we go. And I see a little bit more over here too. Between the petals. Okay, well, I think that's going to be all for today. Well, we have a little bit more time. Let's see, is there anything else? This is not, I think I could do one more thing to this. Kind of give this an edge a little bit more. And a little bit more green in there. A lot more green. Let's put some light in there. Ever feel like you're not getting anywhere fast? I'm gonna have to work on that. Excuse me. Okay, so I think I'm going to sign it. I will probably work on the background some more, but just to show my little write out tool. And I thank you all for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful creative day. Paint something if you're a painter, or just do something fun and out of the box to make your day special. And I will see you hopefully next week on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Thank you. Bye-bye.